Hey harmonizers, welcome to this very exciting video because Alyssa and I have been working on getting relaxation under saddle, and I have a neck rope on today and it was feeling really good. So I'm thinking that for the first time here at home we're going to actually do a real bridleless ride, and I'm going to take you guys on that journey. So we are going to take her bridle off. This is she's 2 turning 3 this year, off the track Thoroughbred. Been off the track now for close to 5 months. So I'm just going to drop off the bridle there, and then we're going to go off on our bridleless ride. Of course, lots of cookies involved because I super want my horse to stay calm and thinking and feeling about the things that I would like her to do. One of the things that Alicia sometimes struggles with is her emotions can be a little bit tricky. And this is kind of funny here. I'm asking her to turn right, and she thought I wanted her to side pass. And I make the decision to end up just turning left because I kind of was asking the way I had my left leg on her, kind of was saying that. So I just kind of went, whatever, okay, that was my fault. And off we go. And I think those are the times where we have to kind of take responsibility for our riding or what we're doing with the horse. And instead of blaming them and making it a big deal, being like, oh, yeah, I kind of goofed up. Well, let's just go left now because that will be easier. So here we are doing some riding around the ring and just going around at the trot. And so before I took the bridle off, I was riding her around with the bridle on and the neck rope on and just making sure I felt like we had communication and that we were on the same page. I wasn't going to just be crazy and reckless because this thoroughbred can sometimes have a little bit of a spunky side. So I wanted to make sure that I set it up for success and that I could make corrections if I need to. And you'll notice that sometimes I cut across the arena, across the diagonal, and then sometimes I do circles. And so that's to help make sure that my horse is listening to where I want to go and that they aren't getting stuck on any type of pattern. So we want to have enough consistency that my horse can kind of understand the dance, that we're doing, but enough variety that she's still listening to where I want her to go. So here we're attempting to do a circle, and then we have a little bit of a miscommunication. So I don't get mad. I just slow down, stop, readjust, turn. And I'm not entirely sure if she's drifting because she's trying to go towards the gate or if she is like just not wanting to listen. So you can see she kind of tries to cut the corner there. So then I'm thinking, okay, like, are you not wanting to go to that end by the hay bales? Let's try this again. And you can see she kind of fights me there. She wants to kind of run off towards across the diagonal. So I back her up and we make a turn, and you can see she's a little bit opinionated around it. But this is one of the beauties to riding bridleless and solving issues when you are bridleless, is that it makes you aware of how assertive you need to be and yet how passive you need to be. Because if I'm too assertive, I'm going to make my horse angry, and she could potentially just buck me off and say, to hell with you, if there's no right answer. Or if I'm not assertive enough, then she would just get away with that, and then she would learn that she doesn't need to follow my direction. So what I did was I rode through the corner and I gave her a cookie up by the end of the hay bales, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I need to maybe draw her to this end. And again, she's thinking like, no, we need to make a right turn. For whatever reason, this part of the left turn is hard for her. So I turn her around again and we go off to the left, and I'm thinking, okay, well, let's just try to make up here a happier place to be if you're feeling a little bit drawn to that little area there. So then we go off again, and I'm thinking, okay, if this is going to be challenging for you, then we're going to work on it a little bit. Maybe we're going to try walking this corner. And even walking, it's still really kind of tricky for her to turn around that corner. So that's kind of surprising for me. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? We have to assess, like, what are the reasons why my horse is saying no? Is she scared? Is she confused? Does she just not want to? Or can she physically not do it? So I'm just trying to reward her in this spot up by the hay to try to create a bit of a sweet spot. So physically she can do it. She can turn left. And at the same time, is it a fear thing? I don't think so, because she is going up there and I can go there if I'm not going across the diagonal. So I don't know if it's a lack of understanding thing where she's just thinking like, I need to go that direction. And you can see she's really trying to head out to the right. So I'm putting my hand out there to kind of block her, to say like, don't go over there. Like, I'm trying to be as clear as I possibly can. Like, don't go over there. So it could be something that's going on, that I'm giving her a miscommunication with my, like, I know my right hip sometimes gives me issue, and I'm not riding as balanced as I always can, but I'm like, okay, well, let's try just walking this and see if we can get a little bit of a happier note going on here. So we still kind of struggle with the turn. She still kind of does a little bit of a sideways jig. It's like, look, I'm going sideways. Is this what you're asking for? I'm like, no, not trying to go sideways, trying to go forwards. And that's kind of the issue that we started with too. Like when I first went off at the walk and I ended up turning left. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's something that's going on, you know, in me and my body that's causing her to do that. Because she is walking up here super calmly and relaxed. It's not like that's stressing her out or anything like that. So I give her another cookie up at that end of the arena to try to make that a little bit of a happier place to be, and show her that that's what I wanted her to do, was turn left around that particular corner. And then I decide, you know, let's not stress out that issue if turning left around that corner is struggling. You know, we walked around that corner, we got up there, we'll continue to chip away at that, but I don't need to repeat a task until the point that I make her super duper angry. So we're going to make a left turn across here and make the circle here. And this left circle is actually going quite nicely. So that's interesting. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll keep working on that and we'll work on our circles up at that end of the arena after. But for now, we'll just play around with some other things. So we'll ride up to this end of the arena, do our little canter, and look how proud I am of this little girl. Remember how we used to struggle with getting our right lead canter? And I'm going to yes her and offer her a cookie up at this end of the arena again. So I'm really super duper happy with that, because that right lead canter, if you go back into earlier videos with this pon, then you'll see that that was something that we really struggled with. So I was really happy with that. And then here we are going to do our little jumps on the way home, which unfortunately we knocked, and we get to see Alicia's amazing athletic ability there. And then up into our little canter with a little stumble. So I'm not going to be angry about that. I'm just looking for relaxation, my horse sticking with me. There she thought I was going to ask for a stop, but really I was just wanting to change leads. So that's okay. She was being a little over eager for my halt transition. So we change our lead, get our little reward there. We don't have clean flying changes yet, so we're not pushing the issue on that. So instead we're just working on simple lead changes, and I'm super duper happy that that's going really nicely with her, because that used to be a hard thing for her. So our balance has improved so much since then. We just did a little stop and restart of the camera there to make sure it wouldn't cut out and lose all that awesome footage. But anyways, here we go off on that left lead canter again. So we've been working on doing just simple lead changes, not stressing her to get those flying lead changes yet, trying to keep ourselves nice and balanced. So you can see that that's going really nicely there. Lots of understanding with that right lead. And that's so funny. I do my halt transition and like such a lazy back end that it just kind of bleh. So not super balanced there, but that's okay. And she doesn't do that all the time. She's just like over eager for the cookie there that she's stopping. So that will get better. I'm not worried or concerned about that. I don't think anything's wrong with her that she stumbled there, and we saw her stumble over the jump, because sometimes when I do jumps and things, she does it really, really nicely. So here I struggle again with that left turn. I'm using my right leg to try to block her. We kind of drift into Annalise, who's filming for me there. And I ended up wanting to go to the right. So I did let her turn around that direction, but I wanted her to go around that corner. But you can see I can ride up into the end of the arena, no problem. So I think we just need to work on our communication signals for that left turn, more so up here, because we were able to ride the left circle at the arena and on the other side, but for whatever reason, making a circle down at that end a little bit harder. So there's a better stop for you, so you can see that she isn't always super sluggish with her back end. And we do typically do a fair bit of backing up after we halt, just to really try to get her to think about sinking her weight onto her hind end and tucking her bum under rather than stopping on her front end. So that's a little thing that helps with that a little bit. And then I wanted to play around with her sideways a little bit. So we go sideways off the leg, and that's super duper easy. So going sideways to the right, really, really easy. So here I move her over, and then I'm like, okay, well, let's try sideways to the left. And I have gone sideways to the left before. It's not like this is something that she's never done before. Never done it bridleless per se, but that shouldn't be that different. And you can see she's like backing up, like the message just isn't really getting across. There we get a step or two, so I'm praising her with my voice there, telling her yes, really happy about that. I give her a nice little scratch, and then I wanted to see if we could do it again, and we go the wrong way. So in hindsight, I'm thinking, darn it, I should have given her a cookie for going the other way just to illustrate that that is what I wanted her to do. And she's just, that's not me asking her to do that. That is her just like going off totally against my leg. You can see I'm using that leg. So I decided to take my leg out of my stirrup and use rhythm and see if I can get her to come off of that. And she's like, I don't know what this means. And I'm using quite a fair bit of like rhythm and pressure. And she's like, I don't know. And she ends up going the other way. And there, like I can see I'm leaning on my left seat bone. So I'm like, okay, let's take my feet out of both stirrups, make sure I'm weighting my seat bones correctly. And we do get like one step, but then she goes off on the other direction again. So I'm like, like, what am I doing wrong? What's the message going on here? So I'm really trying to concentrate on my seat bones, really trying to get the message across what I want her to do. And she plays around with a whole bunch of, you know, various shenanigans that she's thinking about what I want to do. I'm trying to block her. And there's a part of me that's thinking, okay, we're going to have to put our bridle back on. So I basically tell Annalise, can you shut off the camera and go get my bridle? But then right here, she actually ended up going into the sideways anyways. So I didn't actually need my bridle. So anyways, I got a couple steps. I give her a cookie, and then I'm like, okay, that is something that we will work on in the future. So the last little task that I wanted to do with her was just a couple little obstacles. Overall, I'm feeling super duper happy. The main goal was to just have my horse nice and relaxed through the trot and the canter, and we achieved that. So we have to work on our sideways. We have to work on some steering a little bit more. Again, this is our left turn that we have to steer into this little box here. So we've got some stuff that we need to work on, but a lot of stuff that I'm super duper happy about. She's listening super duper well. I mean, what a great mind for such a young horse. And I have to be careful not to do too much because she is so young. So this is my pone. I'm super proud of her. You guys can let me know what you think of Mrs. Alicia. And anyways, I'm a happy mama bear. So thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you next time.